That would make sense, wouldn't it? Roll call, please. Uh-oh, how do I do that?
17. 17.
17.
Down to 17.
I'm only seeing 12.
She's number 12. You're gonna hit 12 and
Was she?
Oh,
12?
she's not 17. Okay.
Oh, she is 12, sorry.
Okay.
I couldn't see the tail from here.
Okay.
Berkowitz,
Here.
Butler,
here.
Ortiz, Axley, Trainier, Winfrey, Newquist.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of minutes. Can someone make a motion to approve the minutes of January 7th? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes. Old business. You've got the attached tax and cannabis tax reports. Does anybody have any questions or is there any discussion about those? Do we need to make a motion to put those on file? Okay, I couldn't remember if we did or not. Okay, then any other old business? I don't see any. So let's move on to new business. Assignment of tax sale certificates. Motion Trainier.
Oh, hold on a minute. I had a question about B.
Okay.
So there was A and B.
Oh, you had a question about,
I did. I'm sorry. I thought we were going.
okay, we're going back to old business for a minute. What's your question, Julie?
Okay, so, and this is for,
Oh, dang it. Sorry, guys.
for Rashawn and Karen.
You should be on.
I thought you ladies were going to come up here and then we were gonna go
Hmm.
through. You know, there's 3 items under, number, 5. So
Need to turn Julie's mic on.
Karen, I thought what would be helpful, we've got a couple new members on this committee, is to kind of talk about these different funds, what they are. For example, under item B, the February 4th 2025 spreadsheet, there's 2 funds in there, and it's the motor fuel tax fund, number 2107, and then there's a city option motor MFT.
The county option.
So,
How about
a county
if you guys want to, can someone put this up and I'll just quickly go through it and explain
great.
what the report is? Because I think it would be easier for people to follow. So that's just a detail. The cover memo is kind of the summary of it. That might be a little bit easier for. Okay. So the first section is comparing our revenues for select sales tax. This is not all the sales tax. These are the major ones. Collected or recorded through November 30th and comparing it to budget. The top section are revenues that are recorded in the corporate fund. And what Member Berkowitz had asked me to do is explain the corporate fund is the statutory fund where all the elected officials in the county have their operations. The other funds that we have are considered special revenue funds. They're segregated because their revenue is restricted for a specific purpose. So again, we'll go back to the table. And some of these names are long, so they're abbreviated. I can maybe change that up for next time, but PPRT is personal property replacement tax. Yeah, we budget for that. The allocation is provided by the state. We don't always get it in time for budget, so sometimes there's a little bit of a timing difference there. State sales tax, local use tax, supplemental tax, and then the local distribution of state income tax. One of the things that was included in the report is an explanation of all of the taxes. So it's the last part of the handout. So I think it might be more productive if you want to take a look at it, and maybe next time I report, you can ask questions. You can always email me if you need to know. But it explains what the revenue is and how it's collected and how it's distributed to us.
Yes. Oh, I have to turn you on. Sorry, guys. I'll get used to this. Does not. Yeah. Okay. What? I'm hitting that.
You're gonna bring one?
Oh, got it.
Thanks. Tim.
Thanks.
I wanted to inquire about the PPRT, personal property replacement tax. I know you said sometimes there's a lag, but what we've seen at the township level is that they've reduced our PPRT quite a bit. And I'm thinking we're not going to get that 5.7
We don't really know, correct?
No,
Until
no,
we get
we-
it
we-
or not.
because we just got a check at the township. I want to say January. And if you got a check in January and we're still at 57,
Well, part of the report includes the prior fiscal year,
Uh-huh.
and the budget was 8.9, and we received 8.2 million.
yeah, but it
For
went
this
down.
year, they cut it way down. And the way it works here at the county is that replacement tax first goes to FICA and IMRF, which are special revenue funds, and it's a percent of their levy. Once we meet that, the rest is swept into the corporate fund.
Okay.
So it's not likely that we're going to get any more for that. For the sales, the state sales tax, the local use tax, the supplemental tax, there's a 4-month process from the when the liability incurs for the sales tax to when we actually get payment from the state. So we're likely to get 2 more payments for each of those. You know, we're at the end of the year and we have a 90-day window called the lapse period, and that's by state statute for us to pay bills and continue to collect revenue for the fiscal year just ended November 30th. So this was prepared in the middle of January. So it's hard to get the timing for the dates to match up with the meeting. So we do the best we can. The bottom 3 lines, so RTA sales tax, motor fuel tax, and county option motor fuel tax. So the county option, the county elected to enact a sales tax for motor fuel. And that would also be included in the list here of the sales tax.
And Karen, I believe that tax goes to the state, who in turn then returns it to us, correct?
All of these,
Mhm.
all sales tax goes directly to the state and the state distributes to us. We do not, as a county, collect any sales taxes. So
What is-
motor fuel, regular sales tax, regular sales tax is collected by a retail establishment, paid to the state, and then the state allocates to us, to the cities, you know, however the distribution breaks down.
Can you give us the current tax rate? Because I know there was an increase when the motor fuel tax was passed in the resolution, there was a annual increase. What is the current?
I
Yes.
don't want to guess.
Okay.
It was
Could you send
initially
that to us?
4%, and I will let you know.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So you're just talking about the county option
Correct,
fuel tax.
correct, thank you.
Jackie, do you have another question or?
I feel like it was 0.25% each year increase, so I can't recall exactly how many
I'd have
years.
to go back and look, yeah. I wouldn't-
Yeah,
Do you
but
want-
we're probably
gotta
like
turn
at 5.5,
mic on.
but looks like Mr. Mahoney might know.
All right, which seat is that? I'll figure this out. Nope, I just turned somebody on. You're on? Nope, it's
It's
not.
gotta be red.
Seat 13?
So he's number 9. Anytime you see.
So anytime green, how did they,
anytime green,
like it didn't pop up
Yeah,
at
Mike.
first? Okay,
So,
sorry, guys.
no problem. So July 1 every year, the county option MFT motor fuel tax increases with the CPI. And so right now we are sitting at 4.9 cents a gallon. It was 4.7 cents a gallon, July 1 of 23. To tell you about our other counties, because I have them in front of me right now, so I won't go by guessing. DuPage County's 9.4 cents a gallon, Kane's at 4.9, same as we are, Lakes at 4.7, and McHenry's at 8.3 per gallon. And so every July 1, that's a CPI automatic increase.
Thanks. Thank you. Karen, do you briefly want to say anything about the cannabis tax collection?
Well, we can jump to the back then. So there's a lot more detail about the collection of the sales tax. If you have any questions, please let me know. And then toward the back of it, we have the information for the cannabis tax. We get two types of cannabis sales tax. One is the distribution from the state. It's a much smaller amount, and the other one is the county option. So the county again enacted a tax on cannabis sales. Through November, we've collected $1.3 million. Of that, 164,000 is for the state distribution. The county option was almost 1.2 million. Inception to date, so both the state option and the county option were enacted in fiscal year 20. One of them in January of 20, the other in July of 20. Since that time, we've collected almost $5.9 million in cannabis sales tax. There's a breakdown by year if you're interested. To date, we have distributed $2.7 million of the 5.9. And there's a breakdown there of who it went to and how much it was.
Anybody have any questions about that?
Where's that money held?
In a special revenue account. So the cannabis revenue comes into a special revenue account because the revenue is restricted. It has to be used for specific purposes.
Mhm.
So any revenue source we have that has restrictions like that goes into a special revenue account.
Is that an interest-bearing account?
Yes.
Okay. I remember when I first got on the board back in 2018, and perhaps Joe, you also participated in these. Every year they had a Zoom meeting with the company, and I was trying to find the information. I couldn't find it, that handles the investments of some of our funds. And I'd like to see that.
Still do
Like,
that.
I don't think we have that currently, like a Zoom
the-
meeting
the-
where,
Treasurer is here. The treasurer's office is
Uh-huh.
Responsible for managing cash for the whole county.
yeah, and I think I don't know, was it the treasurer at that time, but I'd like to see that offered again, so the board members could know what the funds are, what the how the investments are doing. So I'd like to see that started again.
We
That
had a
would be-
meeting not too long ago about that. It
Well,
seems to
this
me.
actually, the company, and I'm trying to find the name of that company who oversees those funds. It was a great, I even had it on my old iPad, but unfortunately that went away. So, they had it recorded, and so I'd like to see that. I'd like to see where are our investments and where they held.
I believe we just had that presentation recently, but why don't I talk to Tim about that and we can figure out if it makes sense to schedule something like that for a future meeting. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
Okay,
Unless there's any other questions.
Any other questions for Karen? Okay, thank you. Moving on to new business. Number 1, assignment of sales of tax sales certificates. Can I get a motion?
Motion, Trinier.
You have a previous role?
Do you have to do a roll call?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Number 2, authorizing county executive to execute the necessary documents for the delinquent tax program. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Do anybody have
Previous.
questions or, okay, previous? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 3, transferring appropriations within various county budgets for fiscal year 24 year-end budget transfers.
Second.
Before we vote, I did ask Rashawn to come up if anyone has questions or if she just wants to briefly go over how to read the report. So Rashawn, if you wouldn't mind, thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
You'll get it. Sharon.
Just as a refresher and for the new board members, so each year and throughout the year, you will see budget transfers appear on the Finance Committee agenda. As we end the fiscal year, you'll see the year-end cleanup. What that is departments transferring between their budget lines for anything any of the lines that require county board approval. So there are certain lines that they can transfer from and to without county board approval. And then the items that are brought before you are the line items that have to be approved by you. So what you see before you, the spreadsheet will always show the department name. For example, the first, it's showing under the corporate fund, we have the mail carrier. The next is just the account structure with the category and the description under account name. And then the next column, it shows the amount column that says over budget 2. That's the line that's over budget. And then the correction from is the line that we're taking the money from and putting it into the line that is over budget.
So Rashawn, just to clarify, that amount over budget is basically the dollar amount that was transferred in from
That we will
another
be,
fund, or you
that we will be
transferring it.
transferring in, correct,
Thank you.
to that line. Question?
So Rashawn, on the first page, for example, mail couriers. So the full-time salaries were over 6,200 and total it's over 8,700. So will you be going back to your full-time salary schedule then and adjusting that?
So once the budget transfers go through the entire process and it's approved at county board, we will book the budget amendment in our system and it automatically adjusts those lines.
Okay, thank you.
Jackie?
Thank you, Chair Newquist. It just seems like on the, let me see if I can find it here, 911. They had a bunch of money scheduled for contractual services. That's kind of a large amount over in the salary line item. I'm just wondering how come we were that far off? I mean, 42,000 seems like a lot. And maybe we have more overtime in that area than I'm aware of. I'm only used to overtime in the sheriff's office or the Sunny Hill.
So they, for 911, just speaking, they could have had increases higher, had a higher. And so any of the special funds, they have revenue that they bring in. So it's a self-funded, fund. And so what we're potentially doing here is moving money around that they already have available within their budget. This is just saying, I need your permission to move between these lines.
In some cases,
Yes.
in the Sunny Hill case, that's not, we're using county board contingency fund.
Correct for that.
Was that for the beds? Or
No,
was that
part-
for something else? I
Part of
can't
that is
tell what
for
the-
those lines.
It doesn't really say, and not that you would necessarily have the answer, but
Well, Jackie, under
Yeah.
account name, it says electricity, drugs and medicine, temporarily contracted medical services. So,
Oh, yeah, it just seems.
but I know it's just
kinda odd.
commodities, contractual.
I'm gonna guess maybe nurse, they had some contract nurses.
I mean, some of that should be available in the line item budget, and if you have questions, I would suggest
Yeah.
that we address them to the various department
Yep,
heads.
no, I will ask
Okay.
about that, because it's kind of a big amount, and if they weren't buying something,
This is the only, in Sunny Hill, that's the only, instance where we're using county board contingency, to clean
know.
up some of their items.
thank you.
Thank you. Julie, you had another
Thank you,
question?
Sherry. Rashawn, for the vacation payout, 20, almost 21,000. So what was the, is
So
that for?
vacation payout, anytime anyone leaves the county, retire or separate from the county, we have to pay them out their benefit time. So that per se is not in their budget, so that's a line item that we're cleaning up.
Mhm. I kind of think it would be nice to see that policy. That's kind of a big chunk. It could be quite a surprise if, you don't plan or expect that. And I imagine, I don't know, is this one employee or two employees?
They wouldn't come out, but I did come out and say, you know, I was there for chance to say, you know, it's all. I believe that is environmental. This doesn't work. Much right now, much out of the building, we will have to call Thompson Electric. Got it. It was so, it worked fine. First couple of meetings, no problem. And then all of a sudden I seen it blinking because we had the agenda pulled up and I'm like, what the hell? So I pulled it up and then it was, I'm like. Of course. Everyone's like impatient. Yeah. They were kind of call a recess, so. Oh, that's nice of them.
Are we good? All right.
Some 7 minutes.
All right, guys, they did it in less than 7 minutes. I'm gonna wait a few minutes for anybody to come back who's missing. And then we'll get started in a couple of minutes.
Say that was about 3.5 minutes?
Yeah, 3.5 minutes. Very good, Chuck. All right, who are we missing? We got Denise, Destiny, missing Dave, and Joe. No, he's not on the committee, so we can go without him. We're basically just missing Dave. We'll give Dave a couple minutes and then we will move ahead. Mary, do I need to wait for Dave or can we get started? Okay, all right, we'll just get started and I can always add on his vote when he comes back. Okay, we're back in session. We are on number 4, I believe, transferring appropriations within various county budgets for fiscal year 25 budget transfers. Not on that. I think yeah. So can I get a motion on that? Motion Denise, second. Previous roll? Any questions? Alright, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, appropriating sponsorship funds in workforce services budget. Move Denise. Can I get a second, Jackie? Can I get a previous?
Previous.
Yep, questions, Judy?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was just curious, is this a new program that they're doing? It's not a new program? I don't remember it. So
don't
the
think
money is
so.
really just for facilitating. It's not for passing out
No.
scholarships.
Yeah, I believe it's funds they receive that need to be appropriated in order for them to spend it, correct, Rashawn?
No, I
Oh,
can't see.
let me
it.
turn you on. Hold on. Your seat 11.
So there's 2.
Yeah.
And I-
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Just a little refresher on what you're seeing on the resolution. So anytime, since the budget has been passed, any appropriation of funds, we have to do a budget amendment. That's where we need your approval to appropriate the funds. So the funds that are being appropriated in the workforce services budget are sponsorship funds from various companies for their Pathways to Professions Expo. And they have been holding this expo, to my knowledge, for the last couple of years. So as they receive the sponsorship funds in, they have to be appropriated into their budget because it was not included during the budget planning process. Where you see the revenue that's being appropriated in expenses, in the budget, if you recall, we have the anticipated revenue line and the anticipated expense line that are placeholders for any new monies that come into come in during the fiscal year that have not been appropriated. This allows us to appropriate those funds without increasing our budget. So we decrease the anticipated line and increase the line that those funds should go into. For instance, the revenue, because this is a DCEO, it's going into the DCEO grant line and then the respective expense lines.
And Rashawn, obviously, we can't appropriate these ahead of time because we don't know if we're going to get them or not.
That's correct.
Okay,
Mhm.
hence the placeholder. Does anybody have any questions for Rashawn? Destiny? Oh, let me turn you on here. Your seat 8. Oh, let's see if I can do this.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say that this expo is held in my district on an annual basis, and it provides a great opportunity for high school students to gain insight and engage in hands-on activities to get an insight into the wide variety of career opportunities. So I am proud to be able to support this resolution and appropriate the funds for this cause.
Thank you. Yes, of course. Let me turn your mic back on, Judy. Okay.
Thank you. So this expo is held at the high school in Romeoville?
Romeoville Athletic Center.
Okay, and so do all students come here, or this is really just for students that go to Romeoville?
It's open up to the county.
So any students could come there? Okay, and how much money? $14,000?
That's what they received
That's what they
so far.
received.
Mhm. So far.
And how much, do we know how much each scholarship is? Any idea? I was curious. Usually 5 to 10.
Well, per the resolution, it says students will have the opportunity to engage and interact in business simulated activities to gain invaluable insight into a wide variety of career opportunities. So the Pathways to Professions Expo, it's an expo that has different businesses that just like a career fair that has different businesses there at the expo that will give the students an opportunity to explore each business and to decide what career path they want to take.
So students aren't getting a scholarship
No, this is not scholarship
because it says
program.
receive scholarships from.
No, sponsorships.
Oh my goodness, can't read.
Here, Judy. No.
Yeah, there you go.
Sponsorships,
Why did I
yeah.
think it was that was my
Yeah.
confusion. All right, thank you.
All right, are we good? Anybody have other questions for Dan? Let me, okay.
No questions, just I'd like to say that I think it's a great program and I think it'll help students, especially high school students going into college to kind of focus on what they want to do a little bit earlier because we all know most kids that go to college, they don't know what they want to do. They spend the first couple of years just kind of partying and
Right.
taking gen eds, but but some kids could actually focus and save money on the classes they take if they had a clear cut, direction to follow. So I like it.
Thank you. Okay, I have a motion and a second. We don't have a previous, right?
Second, Berkowitz.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, this last topic, number 6, pay raises for countywide elected officials and county board members. I've asked Speaker Van Dyne to start this off, and I'm really hoping that today is just the beginning of a conversation about this. I don't know that we're going to make any decisions here, but to go along with that, I have asked our treasurer, Tim Brophy, last year, when we had this conversation around budgeting time, had put together some information comparing our pay to other various counties. And I just asked him to make copies for everyone so that you guys have this information. I thought it was very helpful. Thank you.
It's not on our agenda.
It's not. This is just
So-
supplemental and it will be provided to any county board member that wants it. I just wanted you guys, in case you still didn't have this information, this is all info that we've received previously.
Yeah.
And I
So-
know,
But it will have to be added to the,
yes, we can
No.
attach it.
I think it should. I think it,
Yeah, we'll make the attachment, not a problem. Okay, Joe, I'm turning it over to you as soon as I turn your mic on.
Thank you, Chair Newquist. And like you said, this letter that was provided by Mr. Brophy is in addition to the agenda that has the actual numbers. And I feel like this is just a supplemental information so you can get some background. If we want it posted on our minutes or on the next agenda, that'd be quite easily to do. So I brought up last month in executive committee, it's been close to 2 decades since there's been raises considered for the county board members and the county-wide elected officials. And I thought this may be the appropriate time to bring that subject back to this board to consider. Thank you, Mr. Brophy. He had done some research over the last, the closest, December 23, I'm looking at 10 different counties and he compared all the salaries to the countywide treasurers. And I kind of matched up with the countywide elected officials as a whole on our part, but the average is $116,000 per year. So, first I'd like to say that these raises, it's against the law to appropriate your own raises. So all these are subject to change in fiscal year 26 to 27. So that means that every board member and every countywide elected official would have to earn their seat through an election in order for these to apply. So we're 2 years away from that. I want to refer to this letter that was given to us back in May, and I think you all have a copy, which I think is kind of important. In 2004, the salaries for the county-wides were at $86,000. They decided at that time, the following year would be a 3% increase, and the following year would be a 2.2% increase, which landed us at $93,000. We've been there for 18 years. if they were to decide that there was a 2.2% raise given each year for the last 18 years, it would average out, it would be $125,000 salary. And that is not including paying the small increases throughout the last 2 decades. So I think asking for $116,000 is a small increase, and very fair compared to the savings that this board or the previous boards have made, and how fiscally responsible they have been by saving those increases over the last 18 to 20 years. So if we stick on the subject of countywide elected officials, 2026 in 2 years, the starting salary would be 116,000, and then increase 2.59%, which is basically a $3,000 raise. Another $3,000 raise, another $3,000 raise, which at the end of the 4 years gets them up to 125,000. 6 years from now, yes.
And Joe, just to clarify, that would only be applicable to people who ran in 26. People who just were elected would have to wait till 28.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
yep.
you.
So yes, you're correct. I felt like the county executive should be paid a little bit more than the county-wides as a whole. They're the face of the county. They have a lot more employees that they have to handle. So in 2028, their starting salary would be 125,000, and then following with a 3% raise, which is 128. So and I know I'm flipping back and forth, but this is the document that's pulled up on our screen.
It says countywide. Oh, there we go.
Right, so you gotta move it over.
I do have a copy.
Okay.
Move it, Joe, please.
I think that's all I want to say as of right now for the countywides, and then I'll go to the board members' salary if you wish, after there's questions, or Chair, it's up to you.
Do we want to discuss the countywides first? Okay, I'll go Julie and then
Okay,
Jackie.
thank you. So Joe, regarding countywide elected officials, some of the information I asked for last time this came up was a job description. And for example, are these part-time or full-time positions? What is the job description? Our positions aren't necessarily comparable to some of these other counties. They have different structures. So the information that was shared with us last time, this was one of the things I brought up. You have to compare apples to apples. So I don't see that here. And I'm still asking for that. So what is your opinion of a full-time position? Is it 30 hours? Is it 35 hours? That's why this job description is so important.
Yeah, and I'll apologize. I do not remember that request, but I would absolutely be willing to provide every job description for everything that we're talking about here.
Great. And now one other thing I just want to mention. We're talking about a salary, and we've got a number here. We've all been provided with these numbers on these charts. However, the salary in whole is not thoroughly reflected here. Is there sick time? Are there holidays? Are there vacations? From what I heard during the finance meeting, different departments are also handled in different ways. So again, I would like to see the whole picture, because there are other counties. In fact, there's a county in Michigan where every time they bring in a request for a new hire, they have a complete schedule on the cost of the new hire. They include the compensation, they include the vacation, so you get the whole picture of what that employee actually costs. So that's what I'd like to start with, that information.
Sure. And like I said, there would be no issue giving you this committee and the entire board all the information that you just requested. I believe our chief of staff has written down that request. But what I will tell you is 20 years ago, nothing has changed as far as holiday pay, vacation pay, their insurance. The fact of the matter, the only thing that we're looking to change is the amount of money that they are paid. They've been earning, that position has been earning those benefits.
We did add Juneteenth.
Okay.
That was
well,
one holiday.
Maybe one, but for the most part, it's pretty about the same. But yeah, absolutely. We'll get you that information. You can review it all you want on that.
Jackie?
Thank you, Chair Newquist. Speaker Van Dyne.
Yes.
Do you get any holidays or sick days for being a county board member? How about vacation days?
If I'm allowed to have a debate at my job, yes, I get paid. I get holidays.
Any for being the county board member?
I'm s-
Do you get any sick days as a county board member?
No.
Okay,
No.
I just wanted to clarify. You don't get any paid holidays, vacation days, sick days, and you may or may not work for the county if you're sick, if you're on vacation, if you're, if it's a holiday. I mean, I know I do work as an elected official on holidays. I go out to community events and volunteer my time. Do you do that? Do you
Yeah.
expect compensation? for
No,
those
not
things?
not as a part-time county board member, no.
Yeah, I just was curious. I thought maybe I was missing something because I don't think the county-wides get anything either. I've never seen anything to indicate in state statute that they would receive any sort of benefits.
I see your point. Yeah, the county board members make 23,000 a year and the county wides make 93 and we all take vacation. I mean, it's out of, it's an annual salary. You don't get any benefit extra for paid holidays. Yeah.
Correct.
you're
I
right.
just
Elected
wanted,
officials.
You're right.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
wasn't missing something.
I was
'cause-
missing your question.
Yep. And then secondly, I'm going to suggest or want to maybe add in that I don't think our state's attorney, who is also a countywide elected official, or our sheriff would come under this because I believe there have been special laws created in Springfield to designate what their salaries would be. So we don't really have a say-so. Although I feel like there was like a minimum or something and then I don't know, we don't pay for like the state's attorney's salary. There's
Maybe
just
Mary
something, and
can
Mary can
enlighten
make
us here.
some. I can't remember. It's been so long now.
Bear with me 1 second, Mary. Okay.
So they're slightly different. The
Okay.
state's attorney is a state official elected countywide. And so the state passes his salary and the state pays most of his salary. It's a formula and the county portion diminishes every year, a little bit more. So the sheriff's is paid by the county, but it is set by state statute. And I believe you're right, it's a minimum.
Mhm.
So you still vote on it because it potentially could be higher.
Okay.
But
You
it is
put it-
tied to the state's, I believe it's 80% of the state's attorney's salary.
Okay, yeah, I knew there was some base
Mm-hmm.
figure, but I don't even know what the state's attorney's salary is. So I'm just wondering where that falls in relationship to these countywide salaries that
I
we're
would have to
proposing.
look it up. I don't
Yeah,
know it off
that's
the top
something,
of my head,
if I
but it
could
is
ask the chief of
significantly
staff to
higher.
get for our next meeting, what we're currently paying the sheriff.
Okay.
Because that's
Should
not
number.
reflected in this, and that position would be up in this next election. So I want to make sure that we have all the information and what the heck, throw the
Figure
state's
out to
attorney's
check
salary
it
in there
out.
too, but, and the formula or whatever. I mean, I just think it would be helpful to know all of that.
Sure. And with regard to, there are, the job descriptions for the countywide elected officials are the state statute. The state statute, the General Assembly has set forth what their powers and duties are, and they are consistent with the exception of Cook County, which has all its own special codes, but they all have the same job description.
It's in the statute.
So it's set by state steps. So we can print off the statutory provisions for each office and hand them out.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And maybe to let us know what their benefits are, if they're different than mine.
Oh, did I turn you off? Okay, hold
Oh,
on.
yeah, no.
Bear with
Not
me
getting
1
away that
minute
easy.
here. Gotta find you. There we go. Okay.
So the countywide electeds don't have any defined vacation, sick, personal time. They are salaried Now they set their own schedules and you will see different elected officials, are in the office and some work maybe remotely, I don't know, at different rates. And you will, some of them are much more hands-on and quite honestly, the duties of the various elected officials, some of them are much more onerous, much more. I mean, if you look at the county clerk during election, and I think your staff person, Mr. Pelkey, can attest, they're putting in 15-hour days. So it's very long. Other ones don't require anywhere near that intense of amount of time. So there are each individual, but there is no payout or anything like that for accrued vacation, sick, or personal time. They don't have any.
And a follow-up to that, in your office, working where you work, do you feel that every employee works equally the same and that every employee gets an equal amount of caseload?
No.
That's kind
No,
of
it's
life, isn't it? I mean,
that's
that's
life.
kind of how it goes.
It is.
In any workplace, you have some people that are overperformers and some that, just haven't risen quite to the challenge yet, maybe. And that's just how it is.
Some are newer, less experienced.
Yes.
Some are more experienced. Some people have a natural talent, so maybe they don't have to spend as much time learning their cases. Others have to spend more time getting a grasp of the cases. So I mean, but certainly some have much more complex cases based on their level of experience and talent, and others, are brought in. So yeah, that's just part of life.
Thank you.
Hopefully
you.
their salaries reflect it.
Hopefully, doesn't always work that way.
Okay, I know, you've got a question, right? Oh, you're good? Okay, so I know everybody's got questions. So Julie, I'm gonna let committee members who haven't spoken yet speak.
Definitely.
So let's do Dan and then David. And Judy, okay, so let's do Dan, David, and Judy. Hold on, I gotta turn your microphone on. I'll get better at this, I promise.
So we're in discussion, right?
Yes,
So I don't have to ask a question.
no.
Okay,
You can make a comment.
I'm going to make a comment. So I think I've made my position clear on this before. I think one's desire for service should outweigh the salary motivation for the position. I do realize that on some of the positions, it does require a lot more time, such as the treasurer and the coroner and all these other positions. County board is part-time. I know in a lot of township styles of government, which is 99 counties in Illinois, they have a lot more work because they run a lot more of it. So I get it. But I could tell you, just on a per item, at a 24% increase, anywhere where I see a 24% increase in salary is going to be a 100% no as a starting point for me. I'm not saying I'm not willing to work with people and give them increases, but 24%, 22%, 34%, no, I'm not going to agree to any of that. So just making my position clear.
Thank you. David?
Yes, several things. I'll call hourly employees have a benefit pack.
Oh, I forgot to turn them on. Thank you.
Our hourly employees or workers have benefit packages. So that has nothing to do with the salary, because the benefits are the benefits. The salary is what it's paid. And if we have to have, I feel, we have to have a standard pay for workers in each office, because you could get a difference based on what their boss thinks they do, how they do is to what Jackie's saying. So we have to have a straight line. If you're this level clerk, you get this. If you're this level, that, or whatever. What I would like to see is A, how many people it affects and how much money is it going to cost? And then secondly, where's the money coming from?
Thank you. I know Judy, you're not on the committee, but go ahead. You've been patiently waiting. Let me turn your mic on. Okay.
Thank you, Sherry. So one thing we have to remember, the difference between countywides and county board members is countywides do get a pension. Okay, they get IMRF. So every year, we pay a portion of their salary goes into their IMRF pension fund. They put a portion in and the county puts a portion towards their IMRF. In addition, the countywide elected officials get a stipend. Right now, it's 6,500. I haven't seen that go up at all. Have you, Mary?
I don't believe so. I think it's the same.
It's been standard. So on top of the salary that you see at 93,000, they get a $6,500 stipend and they get IMRF. I forget how many years ago, county board members used to get IMRF, but they took it away from county board members because they said that we were part-time. Now, like Dan mentioned, there's a difference with our county and Champaign. We're executive form of government. The others are all township form of governments. Those county board members do have more responsibilities, and most of them, not all of them, depends on the county. I mean, some counties are tiny and they don't make any money really compared to what we make. We make a lot compared to them. So we need to take that into consideration when we're looking at it. And I think I would like to look at the difference in the countywide elected, what their actual responsibilities are. As a chair for the last 2 years, I saw how often the county executive was here. She was here when I was here and she was here when I wasn't here. So that makes sense to me, okay? Some of the other countywides, they have other full-time jobs. They're here sometime and they're gone other times. The clerk is an on and off type thing because during elections, you're insane working 100 times. But on regular work days, you don't have to work over 15 hours a day. Clerks here 15 hours a day?
No.
Yeah.
But it's a full-time job.
No, I'm not saying it isn't. So there are certain other ones that are probably heavily more hours are required of them than other hours. I do agree with the fact that the county board chair / speaker, whatever that title should be, should get more money because it's a significant amount of more time than the regular county board member puts in. You could be the laziest chair / speaker and you will still put in a lot more hours than anybody else. I know the time I spent and Joe and I have talked and he's like, oh, he's know how much time he's spending now. So that is something. So I think that for my opinion, the speaker should be paid a little bit more than what the average board member does make. And like any elected official, you all decide how much you're going to work and how much you're not going to work. We know some county board members are very active in their communities. They do many different things. And then there are some who, as we saw last time, that showed up for county board meetings and you didn't really see or hear from them any other time. So you're always going to have that with an elected official. You can't base the salary on that. But I think we need to make a decision on, would all countywides get a little bit more or would we want to do it separate? I have different numbers for that. And then how much? I agree, 22% is a big increase. In addition to the other increases that the countywides are proposed to get over the course of this time. So, and don't forget, we don't get IMRF county board. So I think it makes sense that we would get an increase because we're short that other board members prior to us, they did get IMRF. We're not getting that. So I could see an increase in our salary to try and not compensate for that because you can't compensate for it. But in that respect, and then the stipend, because we don't get a stipend. Thank you.
Julie and then Sherry.
Okay, thank you. So, and I don't know who has the answer to this question. So I don't believe any county board members get a cell phone or a car. But I am, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was wondering which of the countywide elected officials, if any of them, have a county cell phone and a county vehicle. I just think that's, and if they do, is that part of the cost, part of that stipend, or is that in addition? So anybody have the answer to that question?
What I'd like to do is I think Chuck's going to take these questions and then come back to us with answers.
Awesome,
If
thank you.
that works for you.
Mhm.
Sherry, hold on, let me turn you on. You're number 7. Okay.
Okay, my only comment is this, anytime that you don't increase someone's salary for 20 years, when and if you do, it's going to be a substantial amount of money because you didn't do it for 20 years. So that is where that comes from. Also, as far as what the countywides do or don't, the fact of the matter is the value of the job is based on the responsibility of the job, and that's a big responsibility. And again, 20 years without a raise in pay, stipend or no stipend, IMRF or no IMRF, 20 years is a very long time for people not to receive an increase in salary. So when you do decide to do that, it's going to be a substantial amount just to catch up with what they should have been getting all along.
Thank you. Denise, bear with me 1 minute here. Okay, Denise?
Thank you. A part of what I wanted to say, rather, Sherry has already said, anytime you let things drag on, you don't do your min, mid, max review on a yearly or biannual basis, you're going to be behind. So you're going to need to do that. That's any organization, whether it's county board or whatever. You should always be reviewing salaries. That should come through your HR department or whoever has that responsibility, but on a regular basis, you should be reviewing, checking, see where you are in the marketplace, and then upgrading as needed. We have not done that, and we are way behind. And I've said this before, anytime you let things go 20 years, you're going to need some significant jumps in order to catch up. Every year we review our union contracts. We value those people. We think they're important to us, and we give raises accordingly. We should value our elected officials the same way. They're people the same way, have all the same responsibilities as our contract employees, and we should value them and reward them accordingly. Anytime you take a job and do it and end up with the same starting salary as your ending salary, is typically because of cause. You got let go in the probationary period. These people have not been let go. They've continued to do the work that's necessary, whether they're newly elected or long-time elected. We should make the necessary adjustments. Personally, I would support 3% across the board for electeds, whether it's county-wide or county boards, and it would renew every year the same as our contract employees do. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, one moment. Let me find you. Okay, go ahead.
So, to catch up, as they say, is also to dismiss all previous boards' efforts to reduce the spending of the taxpayers' money. So I know it sounds like, oh, we got to catch up, but there was a lot of effort and a lot of sacrifice from people before who were willing to do this service and not increase the taxpayers' money. So to just say we're going to catch it all up after 20 years and charge 30% or 25% or whatever, it dismisses all the hard work and efforts and sacrifice of all the people before.
Bear with me 1 minute. Thank you. Jackie, hold on 1 sec. And guys, I know we have another meeting after this, so I'm thinking we need to wrap it up.
More question for Chuck.
Okay.
Chuck, if you could research what a countywide elected official was paying for health insurance in 2006 and what they pay today. I think most of our board members will find that our countywides have actually seen a reduction in their pay because of the cost of health insurance going up. The other thing they may have seen a reduction on is IMRF determines annually how much the employer has to put in, and it's based on what the stock market is doing, basically, what the investments are doing. And I noted that there have been years at our township where it's gone up, but there have been years where it's gone down too. So they may also be paying more into their IMRF, which would also cut into their take-home pay. So those are two things that I think we might want to look at. And I, for one, wanted to negate some stuff that prior county boards did. I would like our courthouse to still be standing. I mean, sometimes what prior county boards did aren't necessarily what the new boards want. And as much as I wanted to change that vote from 2019, it wasn't going to happen.
All right, guys, we'll go Denise, David, Judy, and then let's wrap it up after that. That's okay. And Joe, yeah, I'll let you finish it up. Yep. Or do you want to go now?
Now, well,
Let me turn you on. Okay.
And this is my last one. And the way that you pay for these is you budget, the same way we do with the contract employees. Each department head, whether it's countywide or a lower department head, budgets, plans for their salaries for the increase, because we know that that's a part of living prices go up every place else, so salaries go up to match, and they budget for that. We would do the same thing as a county board. We would budget payroll for all of our departments, all of our countywides, our county board members, the same thing. That's it.
Thank you. Go, oh, it's not gonna work unless I turn your mic on. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, everything's a good comment, good conversation. So if you took the 93,000 as a catch-up is 10%, cost you $9,300. Well, take taxes out of that at 20%, you're at 7,500. So as Judy, or yes, Jackie had said, you know, it's a graduated scale up and down. But again, how many people and how much will it cost us is the thing, because I think we're only talking about 6 department heads.
6 countywide.
6
And
elected
plus
officials, yeah.
22 board members, but
Mhm.
so the cost is, I don't want to say it's minimal because it's never minimal, it's money. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, if you've got valuable employees that are making 90,000 and then they can go to DuPage and make 115, they may think of jumping. So how long is it going to take you to train that employee to do the job that they're doing here? And then how much are we going to suffer by not having the knowledge of this employee that's been here for 10 years? So there's a happy medium here. We need to meet it.
Thank you. Judy, hold on one sec. Okay, go ahead.
So I just want to just refer to something that Dave just said, in the sense that we're not talking about employees. We're talking about elected officials, countywide elected officials. I don't know how many there are, 6 maybe, 22 county board members. So we're talking we're not talking apples and oranges here, or apples and apples. We're talking apples and oranges. County employees, they do get raises. A lot of them are union. It's set by the union contract and stuff like that. So that's a difference. But one thing that we do have to remember is at some point in time, Jackie alluded to the fact about insurance. You know, you paid nothing for your insurance, nothing. And then as insurance costs increased, it became impossible for us as a county to continue to take that weight. So we had to put the cost of the insurance onto the employees, onto the elected officials, because you do get insurance as an elected official, should you decide to take it. And so you can't really compare that. That's a cost every business has done, and everybody's business, every salary doesn't go up. One other thing I want to say is we could say anything we want. There are people on this board. I'm serving I'm in my 13th year. Denise is in her, I don't know what year, and Jackie's a couple of years ahead of me too. And we have some brand new people here, started new, some in their 3rd year. When you run for office, you know what you're running for. That's your choice. You decide that you're going to run for this elected position, and the salary pays this. You know that. You make that decision every year if that's something that you can afford in your household or it's not. Somebody like Chuck and Tim and Perla, these are their jobs. That's a different story. They took the job knowing it paid this much, and their anticipation is they would get a raise. They're an employee. As an elected official, you have to remember you are a public servant, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be an increase. I did say I think we should look at some sort of an increase, but we are definitely elected official. We've chosen to run. I have never seen an election where there's nobody on the ballot to fill that seat, whether it's an incumbent or it's new people. And sometimes, Sherry, you know, in our old district, there would be 4 of us running a lot of times, right? A lot of for 2 seats. So there's never been a shortage of elected officials running, or anyone who wants to be an elected official, nor has there been a shortage of somebody running for reelection. So that scenario with employees, I can't go to DuPage County and run as elected official unless I move there, and I have to live there for 6 months or something like that. So we need to talk about elected official salaries, keep that in mind, and the difference. And the only other thing that I mentioned it to Chuck and I mentioned it to Joe, is I think that while it's true, Julie, that some countywide elected officials, probably everybody, has a cell phone. I don't know about vehicles. Some have, I think probably the sheriff maybe. I don't know for sure. But I do think that the speaker, chair, whatever the next title might be, I do think that they should have a cell phone. I talked with Joe about it earlier because you gain so many contacts, and it would be nice for me to pass the phone that I had used for 2 years on to Joe. So he would say, hey, I want to call up the mayor of so-and-so. He didn't have to look for it to be in the phone, so that can help the transition to a new speaker easily enough text messages, same thing, should be just all work related. So I talked to them about it, whatever, shouldn't matter. Chief of staff always knows what's going on because you're always talking with them. So I think for me, I would like to see us say that the speaker should have a cell phone. It would be beneficial. And maybe not this time, but maybe the next time because cards are out. I don't know, but that's something I think that is important because I can tell you my phone, I can't believe it hasn't burned to pieces yet. So thank you.
All right, Joe.
Okay, to finish up, you know, I just wanted a quick comment on Judy's. You know, another thing too, there's a lot of folks that probably would run for countywide offices. Like, for example, say I happen to make more money than that. I mean, I do love the job. Maybe I do want to run for treasurer. Of course, there's no way I could be smarter than Tim Brophy. But, you know, I think
Oh.
I think the pool of candidates is limited too, because, you know, $93,000 to be a countywide official is just, to me, you know, when half of your employees, or at least some of your employees, are making almost twice that, you know? So it would open it up to younger folks, older folks, folks in the middle age like myself. So you're right, there are candidates out there, but there could be a lot more. In closing, what I wanted to present this to the finance committee just to get, you know, the feelers out there. I thought we had some good conversation. I would like to rely on the leaders of both parties to try to go back to their caucuses, take the temperature, maybe come up with some ideas, take this original document, take a look at it, carve it up a little bit, see where we can get bipartisan support, because that's the most important, I think, moving forward with at least this issue. I know we're not going to get 22 members on board, but it would be really nice to get 15 to 17 of us that could agree and move forward and do something that's right for our board members and for the countywide. So that's my ask. So thank you for letting me present this to you, Chair Newquist, and that's all I have for now.
Thank you. And I would just ask our chief of staff to come back to us at the meeting next month with as many of our questions answered as possible.
Can we have that beforehand? I'd like it before the meeting.
Hold on one
Actually,
sec. Let me turn Chuck's
I
mic
would like
on
it
here.
like sometime this week if possible.
Well, we're gonna get it to you as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to find out.
As soon as you can get
Yeah.
it to us.
So you're looking at a job description as it is provided in the statute. I'll probably have to work with the state's attorney a little bit on that. We're looking at pay for the sheriffs and the state's attorney's office. We're looking at how many officials are affected, what that cost would be, and I'm assuming you're wanting that cost based upon the amount that the speaker has presented then, correct?
Either way, Chuck, I mean, I feel that if we got 10 people, then we know how much money we have to deal with, so dividing it up by 10. You know,
Okay.
where's a happy medium?
All right.
I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah, okay, very good, okay. Just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. And the cost of health insurance from 06 to 25.
And
Will
I
that,
have,
will that include whether or not these positions are considered full-time or part-time?
Yeah.
Because see, here's the issue. Many of these positions, some of the people who step up, including county board members, they have full-time jobs. So they're not just relying on, and they come forward with the intent of maintaining their career in addition to county board. Well, that's to be expected. So we can't, if somebody comes forward to the county board and they don't necessarily, it's, just a 10-hour-a-week job to them, you have to have some guidelines.
Julie, I think the county board by definition, county board members are part-time. I mean, they're not considered full-time, not at all.
And the salaries
No.
reflected.
Right,
as
and the
well.
salaries.
Right, I
reflect that.
understand that, but for even countywide, there are countywide individuals that may have full-time jobs.
But they're elected officials. I don't know that we can,
Just-
but I get where you're going with that. My other comment would be for the job descriptions. I don't know that we really have a job description for a county board member. I mean, in my almost 6 years on the board now, it seems to me that our job has increased in scope. I mean, we have more committees, we have more meetings, we seem to, we seem to have expanded the amount of time required to really do the job. And I know that's an impossible task to come up with a description for county board members, but it's something I think we might want to think about. I don't know if it's this committee or another committee, but I think it would be a good thing to have going forward.
I think the descriptions, and Mary, correct me, I think the descriptions are outlined in state statute.
Okay.
And then they're enhanced as well in various aspects of what you do as county board members or as a county board. For example, what your duties are described in your county board rules as well. It outlines how many committees you should be a part of,
Right.
All those kinds of things as well. So, but I'll try to put together as good
you.
good a descriptor as I can get on that.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. I really appreciate the discussion. I think it was a really good starting point for a discussion. Lots of stuff to consider. And do we need to make Mary, do we need to make a motion to table this until next month? Do we want to make a motion to table just so it's on the agenda?
It's not a table.
Just put it on his old business.
All right.
You can just add it to the agenda, but it's, you don't table it. There's no pressing need to.
All right, we'll just put it on as old business then, so it's an ongoing point of discussion. I just want to make sure it's on the agenda for next month, though. That's all. Okay, sounds great. Okay, let me get back to the agenda here. Somewhere I can get back to the agenda. There we go. Okay. Thanks. I've been writing on my, okay, other new business. I don't have any. Public comment. Is there any public comment? Public comment? Going once more, public comment. No public comment. Announcements and reports by the chair. I have none, except that our next meeting is scheduled for March 4th, 2025. There's no need for executive session, so I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion. So.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.